Hello everyone, it's Monday the 26th of January. Isn't that weird? I looked at that about 3 seconds ago, started live and went and checked again. It's like when you go into the garage and you do that thing with the petrol pump. You know where you know which petrol pump is yours, and yet when you go in you still look out the window just to check which petrol pump it is. Anyway, it is definitely the 26th of January 2026. And we're going to talk about customer service. One of my real passions is customer service. So let's click the button here. We'll start Instagram and we'll get going. Well, hello. It is, of course,
It's the start of the week. Grab your coffee cups. It's Magic Monday Live.
Magic Monday live with me, Michael Heppel. It is wonderful to be here for the last Magic Monday of January. Oh boy. And I'm going to start with a message that was sent to me, and it was sent via Instagram direct message. It said, "Dear Michael, I really love your Magic Monday lives. Thank you. Always love to have a little bit of a big up to start. And I love that you have notes, because notes are important and it makes sure that everything gets done. As you can tell, I'm a big fan of notes. I can tell that already. However, why do you print them out when you're only going to use them once? Why don't you just have them on your screen? Just think about the amount of pieces of paper that you could save by not printing your notes." And that is from Alice in Cardiff. I love Cardiff, beautiful place. Hello, Alice in Cardiff. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to send a message. I do appreciate that. But what I would also like to say is, I sometimes need to be called out on things. And you're right. I print them out. It's a comfort thing. So I can hold it kind of more directly in front of the camera like that. Rather than if I have the notes behind the camera, then I have to keep doing this. But who cares? I'll tell you what, no one cares. That's who. No one cares if I look over at notes that are on a screen rather than printed out. So from now, I am going to look at my notes on the screen. And actually what I think it might make me do is look at my notes less often. I probably don't need them, but I do have them as a bit of a comfort blanket for me. So hello everybody, welcome to Magic Monday Live. Many of you know that one of my real passions is customer service, and in fact I've written 2 books about customer service. That one, 5-star service, was the original one. This one, which came out last year, See, Smile, Say Hello. And I like to write about it, but also I like to share ideas. And here's the thing I want you to think. If you go, "But I'm not in customer service." Yes, you are. Everybody is. Even if you're retired, you're in customer service. Everybody is in customer service. So think transferable. So the ideas I'm going to talk about today, think transferable and think, how does this fit in to my life? Can you do that? I bet you can. So I was considering what builds loyalty. So why are you loyal to something? Why are you loyal to a certain brand or to a person or a program or whatever it might be? What is that you have loyalty towards, and how long does it take to build up that loyalty? So there's a constant belief that people have where they think that you build loyalty by having super smooth systems. There's no mistakes, there's no complaints, and I think, yes, that is one way to do it, and it does sound quite logical to build up loyalty that way. However, there is something else. There is another way to build up customer loyalty. And this is where I'm going to go over to my notes to make sure I fit everything in here. I wrote down here, loyalty isn't tested when things go well, it's tested when things go wrong. And this is because we put trust on trial. And when you put trust on trial, it's quite interesting to see what happens with loyalty. So last August, I did a coaching 3 days. Yes, 3 days. That's intense, isn't it? 3 days with a client, with a one-to-one client. Started on the afternoon of the first day. Next day we did 8 in the morning until 10 at night. And the next day we did 8 in the morning until lunchtime. And it was in Ireland. And to get there, I had to fly from Newcastle to Belfast, then hire a car, and then drive about, I think it must be about 80 miles from Belfast up to the place where he has this lovely little cottage. And I hired a car, and I thought, because I'm hiring a car, I'm going to hire a nice car. So I pushed the boat out a little bit, and I did all the stuff, and I because EasyJet, it was convenient, just the car hire thing came up at the end of when you're booking the flight. I book it through EasyJet, and it came up, and it was Europcar. And Europcar were the people who I was able to rent the car through. And I get off the plane, the flight was fine. I go to the Europcar desk. Hi, Michael Heppel, blah, blah, blah. Can I see your passport? Yes, of course. Hand it over. Can I have a credit card? I say, it's on my phone. I'll just beep it here. And she went, no, I need a physical credit card. I said, a physical credit card to hire a car? Yes. So that seems a little bit old-fashioned. I said, well, I don't have a physical credit card. I said that, and I've got cash, actually. I could give you cash. Strange, I don't know why I had £180 in cash, but I did. And she said, no, and it needs to be a physical credit card. And I went, well, I don't have a physical credit card. She goes, well, you can't hire the car. And that was it. You can't hire the car. There was no kind of, I'm really sorry, whatever. But there was just this, almost a little bit of glee in her voice. You can't hire the car. And I said, well, can I try somebody else? She said, they'll all tell you the same thing. So I went around and asked a couple of them, and sure enough, they told me the same thing. And I just wish that they'd said to me, Michael, look, the reason why is because it's in the small print, and lots of people don't read the small print. And sure enough, it wasn't the small print. It's so hidden away, it's unbelievable. So I had to get in a taxi, and the whole time in the taxi, all the way over for about an hour and a half, which cost a lot of dosh, I was trying to negotiate with EasyJet and then Europcar about why I didn't think I should have to pay for it. I cut a long story short, I had to pay for it. I wasn't going to get a refund. That was that. But the interesting thing was that I made a decision that I would never use EasyJet and I would never use Europcar again. So if I don't have any choice, I'll have to use EasyJet. So if I flew from Newcastle to Belfast, I guess I have to use EasyJet. But I would never use Europcar because I've got choice. I'm not going to do it. Isn't that a shame that they could have? Because I hire cars when I go on holiday. I hire cars all the time, but I'm not going to do it through Europcar ever again. Now, on the flip side of that, is something that happened a few years ago in Ibiza. I should call it a travel podcast, this one. Talk a lot about travel stuff. But it was in Ibiza, and I think I was talking to Christine about this morning. I think it was about 20 years ago. Wow. And we had hired a kind of a funky apartment place. And it looked great in the brochure and stuff like that. And then we got there, and it was minging. I mean, really minging. And everything that smelled damp. It was a bit dirty. You can tell when you rent somewhere and you open up the cutlery drawer. That's a big telltale, isn't it? And that was a bit minging. I was like, oh my goodness. So there was a number for a local agent. So we contacted the local agent. Actually, no. First of all, we tried to contact the out of hours number for the people who we'd rented through and got an answer machine that said that to ring back during office hours. Anyway, there was a local agent. So I rang the local agent, and this lovely lady called Marimar answered, and she said, I'm coming straight over. So she came over to us, and she looked around. She went, this is unacceptable. I'm going to find somewhere for you now. Now, this was, I think, about 8 and 9 o'clock at night. I'm going to find somewhere for you now so you don't have to stay here tonight. She starts making calls. And she said, right, what I'm going to do is there's a hotel just a few doors from here called the Sinbad. And actually, we've been back there a few times. Sinbad Hotel. And what we'd like to do is put you in there. So we're going to put you into the Sinbad Hotel and for tonight. And then I'll find you somewhere for tomorrow and for the rest of your trip. And she did. She found us the most incredible villa for the same price. Now, I think there was a bit of something going on in the background. I don't quite know what it was. But the people who we'd rented through were furious about the fact that Marimar had done this for us. But we loved her. tell you how much we loved her. Every year for the next 8 years, we booked directly with Marimar. And each year when we went, we used to spend a day with her and she would go and show us other villas. It was always on a transfer day. Other villas that we might want to rent for future years. And by the end, we were going to Ibiza for a month and we were staying in probably 2 different villas, one inland and one near the coast, for a month. And she would look after everything for us because she dealt with something when it went wrong. And if you think about it, if that kind of sounds familiar to you, that where there's somebody done something and they've dived in and they've fixed and they've helped you, that relief, is invaluable, isn't it? That relief, somebody's fixed it, somebody's taken responsibility. I don't feel like an idiot because I've been forced to complain or point out that something wasn't quite right. And it's a strange thing, and it's kind of, if you think about restaurants, it can take 3 or 4 visits to a restaurant before you get any kind of loyalty building. But if something goes wrong and they fix it, and they fix it brilliantly, at that point there, what happens? Immediately, wow, you love this place. It's incredible. And it's just about brilliant recovery. It's not necessarily about doing something that was absolutely amazing. It was just about the recovery. And that little bit of recovery that somebody can do is called something, they call it it's not called something, it's called the service recovery paradox. I did have to check my notes there. The service recovery paradox. So the research behind the service recovery paradox says, a well-handled failure massively boosts trust and satisfaction. It doesn't magically guarantee loyalty, you still have to earn it. So it's this booster, isn't it? It moves you along very, very quickly. Now, when I wrote See Smile Say Hello, I was very keen in here to link this with processes that people could use. So let's just think about Marimar and what she did. So first of all, she saw the problem. She saw the problem and she saw the people who were experiencing it. Smile, she remained calm. She had warmth. She had respect. And there was no kind of forced cheerfulness. Oh, it's going to be all right. It's like, no, this is unacceptable. I'm going to do something about it. Hello, communication. She communicated with us exactly what she was going to do. She communicated with other people. She fixed the problem. She used human language, the human language of communication. Marimar did all 3 of those things totally instinctively. Europcar didn't do any of them. So that's the difference. Now, why does this matter to us in our normal real life? Why does this matter in our world? Well, just think about the last time you had to do something like an insurance claim. Have you ever had to do an insurance claim? Oof, horrible, isn't it? The most awful experience. But you feel guilty, first of all. You've paid into the thing for years and years and years, and eventually you have to make a claim. The way they handle it will create or get rid of loyalty. Or remove loyalty, yeah. So if you think about it, if you have to make an insurance claim and the person at the end of the phone, when you ring up and they go, thanks so much for first of all, don't worry, we're going to sort this all out. Yes, I am sorry. Yes, that's really bad. Yeah, don't worry, here's what we're going to do. And they fix it. And it's brilliant. Wow. I once had to use medical insurance because I broke my back when I was in Spain. I fell down some steps and broke my back. Yay! And I had to use our HSBC health travel insurance. And they were amazing. They were so good. They were helpful. They were offering advice, other things that we could do, making sure that I maximised my claim. Don't try and do things on the cheap. Make sure you've got the very best people looking after you. They did everything. But I'm totally loyal to this now. I will use these people forever because of that. And I know I've paid into it a lot more than I've taken out over the years, and I will continue to do so. And it feels great. It feels fine. That's loyalty. So it's when something goes wrong that our loyalty is tested. So it's not how do we stop things from going wrong. It's how do we deal with things when they do go wrong. Let's see who's here. First of all, I'm going to go over to this one here. And there's Angieville. Say hello, Michael. And of course, Mike's here. Mike Fatchedy, Henley Santa, storyteller and author. Right first time is taken for granted, but a great fix stands out. True, Mike. Ruth Adams, the usual phrase is unfortunately, you're not unfortunately. Isn't that a terrible word in customer service? Unfortunately, nobody wants to hear that. Let's have a little look on Instagram, see who's here. There's lots of people here. Andy Heps is trying. Was out with my brother and sister-in-law yesterday. We had a right good laugh. We had a good laugh on Thursday. I'm not going to tell the story about what my mum said on Thursday, but if you bump into me, ask me to tell the story about the comb. Oh, unbelievable. Absolutely. I think I will tell it one day. I'm just going to trailer it forever, and then I'll tell you it. Oh dear me. Right, so yeah, I'll tell you that later. So yeah, we had a good laugh on Thursday, and then also saw Andrew on Friday, and also saw him yesterday. So I just don't see him for a few weeks at a time, and then last week 3 times. It was great. Here's a nice one. _ SILE dot _ dot NCE _ silence with a smile in the middle. That's good. Thank you for your books. Well, thank you for reading them. That's very kind. There's Kay Patton saying hi from Norfolk. John Turoda's here. Hello, John. Excellent Substack at the weekend. Delighted that you did that. We've got Leslie here, Rising Company, Vic Wilson Crane's here. There's lots of. I probably shouldn't go through all of the ones who've just joined because there's a lot. Caroline. Hello, Caroline. Very important. Thank you. Andy Heps is doing laughing faces. Yeah, I'm not going to do that just yet. Angie Vale says, I hate no problem. Grr, it is a problem. And people say, yeah, no problem. A place that was very good, I don't know if they are as good, was Waitrose for that type of stuff. And their choice of language when things go wrong. And for them, a thing that would go wrong classically would be something was out of stock, or they didn't sell something that people wanted. And our daughter worked for Waitrose for a while, and she used to say, Dad, you would love them, the training that we get about what to say and how to say things. And rather than saying, oh, unfortunately, we don't stock that, we would have to say something like, oh, that sounds lovely, that sounds great. I think we might be unable to provide that to you, but what we can offer is this. Come on, I'll show you. And they would take them along. And she said that the number of times when if we would said we didn't have something, it would have been the end of the transaction. They might have walked out of the store. And in the end, so we used to get people, and probably 60%, 70% of the time, people would buy something else or buy an alternative. And once they start buying one thing, they stay in the store and they buy other stuff. I don't know if Waitrose is as good as it used to be. I know John Lewis isn't. I wish they would be. Come on, John Lewis. Come back to us. What happened? Right. Thanks very much, everybody. I hope that you've enjoyed Magic Monday. I'm away to have an osteopathic adjustment now with Fiona. So I'll click this button, say goodbye, and see you next week for more Magic Monday. Oh, one more thing. Substack. I'm going to start and put these videos on Substack as well. If you watch this on Substack, thank you very much. Bye!